Thank you guys for joining us for episode 70 of Black Coffee and Crime. We appreciate you coming back this week. This episode will air on Thursday on YouTube. So yes, we've changed our times from Tuesday to Thursday, such as life. All right. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the show, or just to reintroduce myself, I'm Brandy. There's Brandy W, or as Jackie calls her, BW, and then Jackie. All three are usually here every week, unless Brandy is on the sick and shut in list.
You need
which, because it happens more often to you. Like it's something. Like it could be anything. So we just continue to keep Brandy in prayer all the time. She's not always on the sick and shut in list, but we always keep her in prayer. And for that, we just gonna move right in on the church announcements. Here they are as follows. Please govern yourselves accordingly. January is officially the longest year, because we're still here. January just keeps hitting. I mean, all the weapons that the guy said wasn't gonna prosper.
It's starting to prosper a little bit.
They created in January because
they formed. We just got to see if they're gonna prosper.
Woo.
I'm gonna send y'all that TikTok of that guy that says that.
Man,
who told God I was one of the strongest? Keep my name out your mouth, because
I ain't signed up for that part. Boy, January has been the longest year in existence. It's been rough, y'all. It's been a rough month, and I'm yet holding. Y'all yet holding. So hopefully we continue to hold. But boy, the 2022 officially starts on February 1st. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. January is tryouts, and if you make it, then you could be, you on the team now. So February 1st, you on the team. You might have to sit out a few games, but you are officially on the team. Okay, so you winning. We don't have no housekeeping stuff.
I got a church announcement. So a dear sister in the congregation is she is selling her earrings right here. Y'all need to get you a pair for Easter, because you can't come in here half stepping.
Are those like feathers or
fish? They look like fish.
They look like fish.
But they look like they have they're just like,
okay.
A little.
They're like seriously detailed.
I interpreted fish.
It does look like a fish.
I was going for fish. They're cute.
Very tropical.
Stan Marie earrings. When you usually seeing me wear earrings like this, is from her. So y'all get y'all a pair so y'all be ready for Easter when Easter comes.
What's the name?
Stan Marie.
STANMARIE.
Like stay.
Oh, STAI.
Why?
Oh, I'm messing this all up. Let's backtrack, y'all, because I'm trying to keep notes for the Lord. STAYMARIE. Stay Marie. Okay, is that staymarie.com?
Is it staymarie.com? She's on Facebook, Stay Marie, Instagram, Stay Marie. And I think her website is Stay Marie, but I'm not totally sure. I should have checked that out. But across the streaming platforms, it's Stay Marie.
All right. So go check her out. Get some earrings for, if you can rush it, get them for Valentine's, get them for Galentine's. So get some for your girl pals. I think it's Galentine, like the 13th. I don't know what day it is. I just end up buying Starbucks gift cards. Is it on the calendar? Galentine on the
Let's support our dear sister, our dear member of the church. Let's support our own.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So go on over to Facebook and Instagram, Stay Marie. Check her out, her earrings. I will get the information and post that in the notes. So you can go ahead and hit those links and go buy some earrings. That is an unsponsored plug. So YouTube, don't come after us. We did not get paid for those. She paid for those earrings and all the other earrings in her vast collection. We just try to give a shout out to products that we use, especially those from people created in our community. So there you go. Stay Marie. All right. That's it. Those are the announcements as follows. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Obey your past. Obey the ushers and respect.
Wait, one more announcement. Today is January the 31st, which is the day we record. It is my older sister's birthday.
Happy birthday, Barbara!
If you want to know peace, know Barbara. She is a real life sister Barbara. A real life when she don't cuss, drink, none of that stuff. She's a real life sister Barbara that prays for everybody and it thinks that the glass is half full for every situation.
Is that the sister that sometime be on location with you?
That's Jennifer. Jennifer ain't like Barbara.
She tried to say she ain't saved.
I don't think she's saying she ain't saved.
She's saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost.
I'm just saying she's saying that she's not like Barbara.
She over here talking about me. No, Barbara, she's not. She likes to she's a homebody, but if you ever met her, you will be like, there's no way these type of people exist, but she does exist. She literally can make every moment beautiful because she's just that heavy in Christ. So, and it's not the one where you don't feel uncomfortable. It's the person you need to keep you uplifted because they're that heavy. So I'm just very
Sister Barbara.
You really could. She will pray for you. She ancestor, so she'll pray for you.
So I'm telling you.
I just want to tell her happy birthday. She's the most amazing big sister. Faithful member.
Amen. Happy birthday.
Tell Jennifer we working on her too. That you said.
They're working on you too. The ministry. We're gonna all come together and
she's
kind of backslid.
She in the singles ministry, you said.
Something like that.
She's talking about Jesus and rap music.
She's a leader of the singles ministry.
She's shown up the praise leader of the singles ministry.
Oh, she's doing double duty. Praise leader and singles ministry.
Ooh, she is the leader of the Bible study at the singles ministry, amen. Yes, she is. I'm just messing with you, Judy. I'm just messing with you. All right. So those are the church announcements. We're going to get to these stories real quick. So we have two. We're going to talk about two things tonight. The big one we're going to talk about is the Wineville chicken coop murders, which happened very close to where Brandy and I grew up. Seems like we're doing a lot of stories that were local to us as we grew up. And, we'll move around and get back here to Dallas because there's plenty of bad shit that happened in Dallas. But we'll talk about that. But first, found this on our favorite place on Instagram, the Neighborhood Talk. This is the best source of social media news, y'all. Like, if you're not on the Neighborhood Talk, and this is unsponsored, unsolicited, we just like being on there. There go Jackie with the face.
The faces.
Jackie with the face. She
talking through somebody.
She's talking through her teeth, y'all.
Look at her eyes.
You gotta get over here. That's how you know you mean business.
Talking to Lacasius. He just be showing out.
The Black people and their dogs. Black people give dogs middle names. Like
his name is Lacasius Cadaverous. I figured I would give him the blackest name I could think of. And he is quite
he got silver teeth.
That's a silver dog.
Most definitely does.
I know about silver-tooth dog. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he bad. And he got a snotty nose, Jenny said, like Roscoe. So
does he know he Black?
Yes, he knows he's Black. If I call him Lacasius, he's gonna come over.
Because I'm convinced that Black people dogs know that they're Black.
Like
they have signs. Like when you sharpened your lips right now and flared your nose, he knew. Sit down.
Yes. What do you put back over there?
Brady don't know about that. Brady doesn't have a dog, so she don't know. What dogs? Wait, Brady, y'all had just had Puppy when you was growing up, right? Brady had a dog named Puppy.
We had Kitty.
Okay.
That was a dog?
Cat. Kitty.
Okay.
And we had Puppy was grandma's. And remember, Angie was grandma's. We had Rex and Alf, but they should have called us in to pet control and took them dogs. I had no parts of the dogs. They was just in the backyard. But I love Angie, and I love Puppy before he done went on to glory. Rest in peace.
It's a peace, Puppy. It's a peace, Puppy.
Puppy and Angie. She kills me when she talks about Angie. Kills me. They named the dog Angie.
That's like, a cute name. Angie.
That was Angie. That was her name. She had about 85 litters. Her titties hung down to the dragon in the dirt.
Jesus.
She was a great mother, though.
I can't. We're not gonna talk about Angie because Brady knows that just do something to me. All right, so this is a pretty serious story. So, and this kind of ties into things that we've talked about before, is how Black people really aren't safe being the only Black person amongst white people. Like, it's a thing. You can get mad, but it's a thing. So, recent story, again, this is from Neighborhood Talk. A gentleman named Peter Spencer was invited by a coworker in Pennsylvania to go camping. That was December 11th. The next day, he was found dead with 9 bullet holes in his body, 1 in the mouth, 2 in the buttocks, and 6 in his abdomen or chest, according to the medical examiner.
So he done tripped over the gun, I guess.
The guy who shot him was his coworker, and he said that it was self-defense. But the medical examiner says that these shots came from behind.
In his butt. Well, how?
Right.
Yeah, how's that
some of the shots come from
butt?
behind. Right. And then in his mouth. And then in the mouth, and 6 to the chest or abdomen.
And the man looked thin, so it ain't like he got no booty, dude.
Right. Yeah, that's a pathologist who was, hired by the family, said that some of the bullets were entered from behind. And he said that, this is a quote from the Inquirer. He says, "My initial thought is that it is absurd to talk about self-defense with 9 gunshot wounds."
And then the one in the mouth, I'm thinking he probably rolled him over and then stood over him and shot him in the mouth. How did he get shot in the mouth?
Unless he just got shot in the mouth when he was giving him the 6 shots to this area and 1 caught him in the face. But it didn't say in the... No.
Or scars or nothing.
It does not say.
How's there no arrest? I'm just...
And initially there weren't. And I don't think that at this time there have been. And the reason why I say this ties to things that we've talked about before, because we talked about Tamala Horsford, was our very first episode. We talked about Tamala Horsford out of Forsyth County, Georgia, a Black woman who was at a sleepover with the mothers from her kids' football. They happened to be white. They had a sleepover. There were drinks. Tamala Horsford had horrific internal injuries to her body, and they alleged that she fell from a 2nd-story doorway, or I think it was staircase or something like that. And they've been investigation after investigation, and they say it's accidental. There was a boy in Plano, Texas last year, went on a sleepover with his friends. They beat the boy up and they urinated on him. I think he was 11 or 12. Recently on TikTok, there's a little controversy going on with these like school age kids. They're like 2nd or 3rd grade. And the way I believe it happened, and this is not coming from, like, this is just a video that you're seeing of one of the parents, the offended parent, apparently, asking her daughter what happened. So you see this little girl sitting on her mom's lap, and she's like, "Tell the camera what happened." And she's like, whatever the other little girl's name, she said that she can't come over to the sleepover because her mom doesn't like white people. So the mom then says, we have something about stopping racism and how this is reverse racism. But listen,
reverse racism doesn't exist. But go ahead.
It doesn't exist.
Go ahead. I'm going to do it. But go ahead.
We don't, as a culture, typically, now there are exceptions, allow our children to spend the night at anyone's house who is not immediate family.
Or a close family friend.
A very close family friend.
Yeah. Definitely ain't spending the night at some classmate.
No.
No, we have to, you have to be vetted. Where's the daddy? What does he do? How many boys to be over there? How many men is at that house?
What the mama do?
What the mama do? I need to look in the house. Is the house clean? Like this, the vetting process for Black people to allow their kids is worse. Like you could get in the CIA quicker than you could get cleared to go spend the night at somebody's house.
That's a fact.
I mean, do you know how many times I done got pinched on the back of the arm because my mama thought I was going to ask to spend the night at somebody's house? Like, that was an absolute no-no.
You can't even hardly spend a night at some family member's house because she don't watch her own kids.
Thank you. And I'm not going to trust her with you, and they don't even be having food in their refrigerator. And last time I was over there with some roaches walking around. I ain't for to bring that stuff back up over here, so it's best staying home. Now, what they can do is spend a night with you.
With you.
That's
they stuff out before they get in my car.
Yeah, that's your cousin. You know, they
let me watch their clothes
here. I'm telling you, because my mom was the epitome of you better not. We would have 10, 15 girls at our house because my mama made it very clear that we can't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. You want your friends here? They're more than welcome to come over. I will go talk to every parent. I will go expect them, and they trust me. She got to know them for weeks, months. It was a whole inspection, you know. Before,
because you want that parent
to my house,
right? You want that parent to be reassured that their child is going to be safe.
She won't let no fast girls come over to stay.
Oh no, LMA is old school country. She don't play none of that.
Lola got to spend the night at one school friend's house. One. And let me tell you why she was able to spend the night over there. If I tell you that these people, like you say, how your sister Barbara is just like you just feel it coming off of her. Her friends' parents, this is what they did. And this is how I know these people were the truth. Their daughter was having a sleepover for her birthday. They invited Lola, but this is what they did. They invited me as the parent to the house like a week before the birthday party. So we were able to go over there. I was dropping Lola off for just the, little, but come in. I stayed there even at the birthday party. I stayed there for about 45 minutes because she told me, I want you to meet my husband. And I want you to know that she's like, and my son is here, who is younger than my daughter and her daughter. But my son is here. So he's going to be the only boy in attendance, but he'll be in our bedroom with my husband. I'm going to sleep in a separate bedroom closer to the girls. I like the way you operate, ma'am. So every assurance was made that you, as a parent, that your girls will be safe. Their father is here, but he will not have contact with these girls. Their brother is here. He was like 10. He will not have contact with these girls. I like y'all.
Yeah,
I like this. Very sweet people. Other people ask, it's an automatic no. Nope.
They guarantee. Guarantee. And my mom let me spend the night at one of these people's house one time. Babe, I came back and told her, please don't ever let that happen again. It was so completely out of my just lifestyle. She was cussing out her parents and she threw her spaghetti. And I didn't know how to handle that because at school, she don't do that. And she was like, we don't want to eat spaghetti. We want pizza. And took that bowl and shot it like this. I was like,
oh, so your mouth was open the whole time.
The whole time. I didn't sleep comfortable. Her room was disgusting. So when I got back home to my mom, I said, Mom, her house was nasty. We played outside for a little while, and she yelled at her mom and them. She said, "Oh, see, this is why this has happened." But I begged her to go because that was the only friend I had at the time. Right. So I was new to the school, and we had been friends for like 3 months, and her and my mom talked all the time. So my mama trusted this. But she didn't live over there no more. That was cut out.
You know, your mom gives you when there's other people.
I said, Mama, she threw spaghetti at her daddy. She said she didn't want. She come. I wish now I'm in trouble because she thinking that's something I would do. You better not throw a motherfucking spaghetti up in here because if you don't want to eat it, then take your black. I mean, I done got a whole trouble because I just told it. So no.
Yeah, the trouble has transferred over to you. You ain't do nothing.
You know, standing there with them. First, you're gonna be mad that you gonna ask in front of the people, and she gonna give the nice maybe another time.
Yeah.
But you know, and when you get in that car, she gonna be upset because you done asked in front of the people and then pull her to the side for her to tell you no. You thought you was slick and go ask in front of the people so that you could go.
Oh no! But then you try to be slick and have the other person ask.
Them my kids. Them were my.
No, that didn't work either. Let me tell you how.
That line. I'm like, maybe another day. But as soon as we get in that car, you know, motherfucker, I ain't finna let you go over the water house. So you go over the water house.
My mom would grab the back meat on my arm back here.
Then pinch it. Ooh, up there.
Yes. And you didn't know she was pinching it? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. My mom was so very protective that, so I have 2 brothers and a cousin. We all grew up with my grandmother, same house, whatever. My brothers would go to my uncle's house, who at the time, they didn't have kids at the time, or maybe their son was like a infant or something. Do you know when they went to spend the night with my uncle, I couldn't go? Because she said there's no other girls there.
That's right.
But I spend the night with them every night because they're my brothers.
It doesn't matter.
But my mom's saying there's no other girls there. And I was like, but these are the same people I play with all the time. Like these 3 boys. Couldn't do it. As a kid, I never spent the night at someone's house. I think one night my mom was at a friend's house and, they got to playing cards and blah, blah, blah. So it got late. So she left me over there. When I realized that my mama was gone, I'm going to need you to come get me right now, Sister Pearl. Right now. Right now. Yeah, she came and got me because she knew what was Brandon. Right. Well, my next step was what? I'm about to call Sister Lowe. I'm about to call Sister Lowe, who was my grandmother. My grandmother Lola, and my mama didn't want that. My mama didn't. She was my grandmother was gonna say, Fred, go get that baby. And my mama didn't want that. So my mom came all the way from home. She had just made it home to answer the phone. This before cell phones. So I rang that phone. And when my mom got home, she finally answered. And I said, come get me. Well, you asleep. Come get me. Because I had been so uncomfortable with staying over people's house that and Brady, you know what I had on my arm when my mama came back to the door? My jacket. I ain't saying.
It stood at the phone calling until she answered over and over again, and then stood by the door waiting.
Who? Brandy?
Yes. That's my MO. That is my MO. You leave me anywhere, I'm standing at the door.
She let you know she ready to go. She was a little brat when she was a kid.
That's not surprising.
Yes. So but this is our experience. This is how we know. And this, on TikTok, you're hearing a lot of people telling similar stories about that. It's just not safe. And if the lady was offended, she even went to the children's school to complain about the mom not letting her child spend the night. Like that's a personal issue. Go to the mom to try to get an understanding of why is it not okay? But then you still can't question me, but why is it not okay? Because this is what my daughter said. I just want to understand it. And I'm quite sure that mother would have explained to her, I don't know you like
this
that.
Is why. Right.
And I just don't feel safe with my girl child being at your house.
And now since we got an altercation, I really don't feel safe about my baby.
Now you're going to take it to TikTok? No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. The second you took it to TikTok, I wouldn't dare trust you with my baby. No way. It's too
My
personal.
baby come back with scratches and a bad experience. No. Traumatized? No.
Not doing it.
Nah. So if you come across, a situation like that, then just understand the history of why we don't do it. It's just not. We have found that in most cases, it's not safe for our kids to spend the night outside of our house, outside of family. All right. So let's talk about the chicken coop murders. You all right?
Yeah, I was saying no. That's what I do to my kids when they ask me something. I do them like this. That means no. Get out. Get away from me. So that's what I was doing, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. I did not realize I was sitting over doing this. No.
Jackie, like when you make faces, I just kind of ask now, like, you good? Or, I try to interpret, like, I don't even like edit out or nothing, because that's just what I expect from now on. Like, it's just a thing.
Well, I want to shout out Kelsey, my little cousin, because she really into the Wineville murders, and she asked that we would do the story for the Wineville murder. So here we are.
Is that Sean's daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, because it was a great story.
Thank you.
Not
so
great
much.
In the sense that it was not good. I mean, it's horrible, but it was a really good.
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People don't like me over here. I get in trouble a lot.
We got you. We got you, Jackie. We ain't gonna let nobody do you dirty. We got you. I had known about this story after watching a movie, maybe whenever the movie came out. I don't know when The Changeling came out. It's a movie with Angelina Jolie talking about one of the victims of the Wineville murders, but it focused more on that particular victim and his mother's experience than the actual murders. So I didn't know until the end of the movie that what they were talking about is a town adjacent to where Brandy and I went to high school. Like, it tells you literally at the end of the movie, because the entire movie they talk about LA, Los Angeles, LAPD. So it didn't connect for me until the end of the movie. They have the little notes at the end of the movie. And then that's when it says that the name Wineville has been changed to Miraloma. And I was like, what? So when Randy brought this up via Kelsey, I was like, yeah, we can definitely do this. So, Brandy, you go ahead. I know that you were sending me stuff about this.
You want me to go ahead?
No singing, but go ahead. You can't sing.
Oh.
But I knew. Yeah, I just specified no singing. Just go ahead with the story, not your selection.
I always got an A and B in my back pocket.
Not your selections, the story.
It's like she was ready.
Yeah,
I was like, for real?
She was ready.
No, ma'am. I need the story. What's going on with the murder?
The Northcutt family. That's his name, right? North.
Mm-hmm.
Had an old chicken coop down in the Wineville area. His mother had very strong features. But anyway, he was a young guy. He found out that he was the result of incest. His father and his sister. He was his sister's son. But he had an inappropriate relationship with his grandmother who raised him. So this boy was
tangled as hell. Like, no wonder he was messed up.
So yeah, he we were trying to understand what business, because that at that time that area was very much like not, city. It was very country, rural, probably a lot of farms and things like that. Probably not even a lot of those.
Mm-mm.
And they were on a chicken farm, and what happened was he ended up kidnapping two brothers from Pomona and one boy from LA, right?
Yeah.
LA?
Mm-hmm.
So we were trying to think, because we're thinking of the distance. We're thinking of the distance in our mind, and that for today, that's a good trip. Just think about whatever he was rolling in, you know.
Yeah. So one of the children, Walter Collins, was kidnapped from Lincoln Heights, or was Mount Washington, they call it, which today is East LA, which is about 40 miles from Miraloma or Wineville at the time. Pomona would have been a little closer, but still a good 30 miles. And you're talking in 1928, 1929. How long did it take, and how were you able to kidnap somebody and drive them 40 miles in 1929?
Well, I think that he had business because they had a chicken farm, that he may have had to travel there to do business with other folks, because like I said, it was rural. It's still a little bit rural now. So that he may have had to travel because to sell his chickens or sell the eggs or something. He looked like a real put together guy compared.
He really did.
His mom, she looked like she was on a chicken farm, but he looked like he was put together.
Okay, so that was one of the things about.
Now he looked like he was on chicken farm.
Gordon always presenting himself very well and dressing well. One of the things that Brandon and I talked about earlier was, back in those days, even if you were poor, you still try to put your best foot forward. So you had a lot of people who were lower middle class or poor that still put their best on all the time. But the fact that he got one of the children from the Lincoln Heights area or East LA, that's where they used to have a lot of bakeries and factories back in the day, up until maybe the 70s or 80s. A lot of those places were open. One of the biggest ones was Mrs. Cubberson's, which is still there. And that's where you get your rolls that you buy, the brown and surf rolls that you buy at Walmart, your stuffing mix, that's all Mrs. Cubberson's. So it's possible, like Brandy was saying, it's possible that he was delivering eggs to these places. Pomona at the time, well, what I think of Pomona now and what it used to be are two vastly different things. Pomona was one of the richest places per capita, one of the richest places in America in the 20s and 30s, for a very long time. There were two Mexican Americans, Mexicans. I don't know if they were considered American. I think their loyalties were to Mexico. I don't know.
In the 20s, we weren't considered American.
Right. So they owned the two biggest ranches in Pomona. So there was a lot of industry there. It was considered one of the places where Hollywood would send their movies to be screened. So if it did well in Pomona, it would do well anywhere. That type of thing, like that kind of money was in Pomona. So
that's why I think that he dressed a certain way, because he had to blend in. When he couldn't be coming down there looking all heave and ho, with his overalls and stuff on. He purposely looked that way. Had his hair slicked.
He wasn't even a bad looking guy. To be honest with you, to be a product of incest, he was a pretty attractive guy. I would think when he came around people, they would find him attractive at that time.
And he was put together. That's why I think he was able to go to these areas and people not notice that he's picking up
little boys. And also during that time, you really didn't think of people kidnapping, or, rape, murder. Those weren't things that people even thought about. We talked about growing up during the time of Richard Ramirez, no one locked their doors prior to Richard Ramirez. And this was in the 80s. So you still have this level of innocence during that time. So I think that was part of the reason why it was so, he would have been able to kidnap them. If he was well-spoken enough, handsome, well put together, that breeds trust. Now you see somebody handsome and well put together, we run in the opposite direction because something has to be wrong with them. But then it was, if they look the part, then they have to be of good character. Yes, you could probably, people were sending their kids with just about anybody back then. I mean, think about remember we talked about Albert Fish, which would have been happening around this time as well. when the people sent their little girl with him to a birthday party, they didn't know him from Adam, but they sent their little girl with him and he killed her. So, you know, it would have been easy for these kids to trust him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he made up the whole thing, help me unload the car and I give you some change, or once I gave you the change, let's go to the store to get something. I mean, there's many ways that he could have got those boys into his vehicle. But I don't know, after traveling so long, what he might have, you know, what he would have done to keep them quiet.
Well, he did have an accomplice. So Gordon, like Brandy was saying, Gordon was allegedly the product of incest between his sister mom, and his grandfather. Well, they were from Canada, and they really hadn't been in California that long before he got caught. And he like petitioned his sister to allow his nephew, was it Stanford, to come and live with him. So his nephew, brother, or whatever. So to come and live with him. So Stanford acted as an accomplice. So if he was traveling, you know, as Stanford being his help, then of course that's also going to breed trust in these boys, because you have someone that's a little bit older, you know, can develop some kind of camaraderie there. And he could also be keeping the boys from moving. So they kidnapped, who was first? I think it was Walter Collins. Well, let's go back. There was actually a murder of a Mexican boy, teenager, and they just call him the Headless Mexican, which is really kind of callous, but that's basically what happened. They identified him as being Hispanic, but they never were able to say exactly who he was to identify him. They found the body, but no head. They also found other bodies in the area, but they were never able to identify them. I mean, bodies as far as La Puente, which is, you know, in LA, near East LA as well. So he's really got a pretty wide net as far as where he dumps bodies or whatever. So he kidnaps Walter Collins, probably on one of these trips to one of the bakeries. I'm assuming if that's where he was going. He kidnaps Walter Collins. I think he was 9 years old at the time. Well, his mom goes to LAPD and says, my son is missing. LAPD throws her off. They're like, nah, you know, he could be anywhere. She's like, no, he's missing. You guys need to find him. They do absolutely nothing. They do nothing. Now, at the time, LAPD was in the middle of like a corruption scandal, which is nothing. Yeah, I mean, which is ongoing, I guess. And
is it ever stopped?
No, not really. And they just kind of ignored her until she made herself a nuisance. So inside this Wineville chicken coop murders, there's like 18 different subplots, because now you've got this deal with LAPD. And I've always wondered, and I figured it out today, why was LAPD involved? Miraloma or Wineville is Riverside. And I'm thinking Riverside was big enough and rich enough at the time to have its own, you know, DA and all this stuff. So why was LAPD involved? And then we found out that's where Walter Collins was from. So that's why they got involved. So we'll come back to his mom, Christine Collins, in just a moment. But
in you guys, hold on. In your guys's, research, I found that there were several other boys that he let go. Mm-hmm. But the ones that he killed was because he had done the most stuff to them, or that they had been with him long enough to be able to know who he was. And the other boys that he would do, you know, abuse them and then let them go. Mm-hmm. Did you guys find?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it said that with Walter Collins, I don't know if it was Walter Collins or the what were the other boys'
Mexican
names?
brother.
No, the two brothers. What were their names?
Oh,
They were Mexican, the two brothers.
From Pomona?
they were? You know
There
that?
were two brothers, two Hispanic brothers.
No, that was Lewis and Nelson Winslow.
Winslow,
Yeah, those were the ones from Pomona, the Winslow brothers.
the ones that he killed.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I thought
yeah.
they were from
Mm-mm. Now the
Mexico.
Headless Mexican, there was probably more because he worked the farm or whatever. So we have migrant workers. So there was probably a lot more, Mexican kids that were killed because he could. This is, as we hear this word in all types of crime shows, as victimology. Like they would have been easy, hard to identify, and given the racial climate of Southern California at the time, who was going to look for him?
And then his mom, I mean, why it was partly so brutal is because his mom didn't want anyone to hear the gunshot. So that's how he ended up killing them with an axe. You're like, why is this so overkill? But his mom didn't want no one to hear. He did shoot some of them, but his mother didn't want anyone to hear the gunshot. So that's how he ended up using the axe.
And during his trial, his father, who you don't really hear anything about until you look at the notes from the trial, you don't hear anything about the father. You think the father's dead or something. But it says that his father testified that he buried some of the bodies with lye to ward off the smell, and he bought the lye. So they all knew
Involved.
or were involved in some sort of way.
They used the lye, and they used some other type of acid to help melt the bodies down.
Yes, and that they probably most likely did that with Walter Collins, was melt the bodies down with some sort of acid and then just kind of throw them wherever. All of these chemicals, lots of chemicals would have been available to them as farmers. Right, especially during those days, because it was practical use for poisons and all this stuff that, you could just go to the chemist or wherever and get anything, any kind of poison, and it would be okay. So he gets caught because his nephew Stanford's sister, now he had been gone for 2 years and he was supposed to go to California and come back. And his sister, Jennifer, or was it Jennifer or Jesse? Either Jennifer or Jesse was the
Jesse.
name.
It was Jesse.
Yeah. She comes to California and because her mom told her go check on your brother, and she
got that letter from her son too that was sounding a little sideways.
Yeah. So Gordon was using Stanford to write letters to the families of these boys, as the boy, he was impersonating them, hey, I'm fine or whatever. And so he was doing that type of thing. So he was writing to his family back in Canada, and it didn't seem right. So Jessie comes down and she's horrified by what she finds. She goes back home and she tells the police. So she calls immigration because he's there. He's not supposed to be in the U.S. in California that long. So that's how they get everybody involved.
Why don't you didn't snatch her son up and take him with her?
Well, because she sent the sister. She sent her daughter down there to kind of report what happened. And when they got back, they called immigration. So they knew immigration was going to go ahead and pull him back. That's how LAPD puts this together. Even though that they're not paying attention to Christine Collins, all of a sudden they go down there. When immigration gets there, they start looking around and they find stuff. And there's other boys that are there, but he threatens them you better not say nothing or I'm gonna kill you, kind of thing. So that's how all of this kind of blows up. So they start finding body parts. And it goes really, really quick. Like it happens really fast between the time that they find these bodies and actually the trial. That's like a year. So they put together, like, you know what? There's something to this. So they're arrested. The mom is arrested. Mary Louise, I think her name is. She's arrested. Gordon is arrested. Stanford is arrested. Subsequently, Mary Louise pleads guilty. She gets life in prison. They didn't send her to the death sentence. They didn't give her a death sentence because she was a woman. She sent to Tehachapi.
Do you think that they would have found anything if the mother, upon hearing that, they were investigating, if she hadn't had him or both of them dig the bodies up and burn them, beyond recognition till there was scrap, like bone fragments? Do you think, because this is a chicken coop, do you think they would have they would have even looked in the chicken coop to find evidence?
No.
For him to even be prosecuted?
No. They wouldn't even consider it. They wouldn't have thought.
You think the digging up of the bodies is what really jacked them?
I have been, Brady, growing up, going back to work anywhere in that area, you saw all those chicken farms, from Rubidoux, Harupa, Mariloma, all the way to Chino. And there's these long buildings. I mean, that's now an industrial chicken farming or whatever. But can you imagine, they're supposed to clean. But can you imagine, without any sort of environmental regulation, how high the shit was? And chicken poop is very corrosive and it smells horrible. It's very corrosive. So it gets on your car. Like if a bird poops on your car and you leave it on your car long enough, it's going to strip the color from your car. So no, I don't think that they would have looked. It would have been a very peripheral, oh, we don't see anything. We're going to look in the sheds. We're going to look over here in this trash pile. But I don't think that they would have looked. But
the only problem they would have had was the nephew. Because he didn't want the other ones to go because he believed that they would tell. But he must have thought his nephew was so, what's the word I'm trying to use?
Like loyal to him, loyal to the family.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't have said anything.
Well, yeah, he would probably think that, but he was raping his nephew. Yeah. That's the reason why he convinced his sister to allow his nephew to come with them. I'm quite sure that he was abusing this young boy prior to them leaving Canada. But that's
making him kill the other kids too.
Right. Making him be a part of it. So he was abusing him as well. And I think that the reason that Stanford agreed to do this is kind of like, if I do this with him, then he won't do this to me. So it's kind of self-preservation.
Or guilt, because now I've shown you that this is what I can do. I can kill you. I can do it. So either you're going to help me, or you can die.
You'll be out there too.
Or you don't want to get raped today. Do you need to find me somebody else that I can rape? You find me somebody else I can abuse, or it's going to be you. You can either die and do this or that, or you do this. Those are your options. Right. So I think that's probably also why. Yeah, because he's like, I'm scared. He's terrified.
I can imagine. I can just imagine.
The grandma knows this is going on too, but we don't know. We already know she ain't right in her mind. Or she might have some kind of resentment against the daughter for her having a kid with her husband. I mean, there's a whole lot of thing, because I'm like, this grandma is just knowing all of this is going on. Knowing that
she's probably just kind of like that. This is my young king kind of thing. Like he can do no wrong type of attitude. And what is really striking about this? Gordon was 23 years old when he was executed. This was a very, very young person doing this. So it kind of goes back to, is he this way because of the possible incestuous birth? Is he this way because incest being committed against him and he's seeing all these? Well, like, did he see any of this before? in a big debate that I don't think it was a debate, but it was brought up. Was he gay or was he a pedophile?
I think you can be both.
You both.
Yeah, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I don't think they're exclusive from each other.
Yeah, no, definitely both.
I think during that time, I think that, you know, homosexuality was shit illegal up until just recently in a lot of places, but definitely forbidden. Like we said, Wineville is very rural. It would have been rural places all the way to the city of Riverside. Even the city of Riverside is surrounded by orange groves. From Mariloma through Norco and Corona, still very rural in Norco in 2022.
You probably didn't know any of the gay people.
Right. Surrounded by like mountains or whatever. And then all of that area, there's nothing. So I think that he was gay, and then him being so young, he was only exposed to little kids or young men. So that's what he liked.
He imagine that he didn't know gay was a thing, probably.
No.
Or did he know something was different? Did his mom? Why did they move from Canada to California anyway? Was that something that he was already displaying? You know what I'm saying? It's just was he already displaying this type of behavior, and she's already taught him like, this is no, you don't do this. Was she abusing him or punishing him for what he was doing? And then like, I mean, I was like, just
she was messing with him too. So
right, but what started it? Because just because you're born out of incest doesn't make you start out that way. Right. It's got to be something that was either taught to you or you saw that makes you think that you're comfortable enough to go to another level. And then once you get comfortable at that level, then you excel. That's normally how it works.
If his mother abused him, then he is used to an unnatural, he comes from a whole unnatural type of relationship thing. So his grandma's abusing him. It may not be
but that's a woman. But that's a woman though.
I'm saying he knows abuse, and if he's attracted to, that's like a man who messes with little kids. He's still heterosexual. He's messing, but the problem is he's a pedophile messing with little kids.
Right.
So
that's not my debate though. My debate is where did he show signs of being because it's more, he's a pedophile, but it's a certain type. He's only attracted to boys. He never took any girls. It was all boys. So where did he transfer from into the boy? Like into
I think that he was gay. I think that he was gay, not like Brandy said, not knowing that he was actually gay. Mm-hmm. Because during those times, people didn't, like, gay wasn't a thing. You know what I'm saying? What do they call you? Purple or lavender, where there were these little terms to describe men who liked men, but it still wasn't talked about, and gay still wasn't a thing that you could explain, and it was considered to be mental illness or bad. Now, I do think he is a damn psychopath. So I think that something was always wrong. Something was wrong with Gordon a long time ago. Maybe that is why they left Canada, because they left when he was 19. And why do you go from Canada and just move to a chicken farm?
Yeah.
You know, why did you pick this place? Maybe. Let's get him away. But then the bad part of it is you brought part of his vision with him. Like, he was 19 when y'all left. You brought Stanford with you. You brought his victim along with you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say this because people are going to say it in the comments. We are not saying that if you are gay, you're a pedophile. We are not saying that at all.
Two different things.
I know somebody's going to say something. In this situation, he was gay.
He's gay and a pedophile.
We're not saying that gay people are pedophiles. We're not saying that at all.
No, those are two different things. But in this case,
it is a possible combination, and in this case, it was a combination.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was always going to be, if he was a mentally healthy person, he would have just been attracted to, naturally at his age, to boys his age, and then as a man to men.
And that's what you're saying, healthy attraction. At this time, that wasn't considered a healthy attraction.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, if he was like, if whatever happened to him before had not happened, if he was just a normal, regular person who just happened to have what society says is this mental illness that you like men of homosexuality, I think that, no, I don't think that he would have been a pedophile. I think that he would just maybe been a closeted, confused man who's going to, hooking up with other closeted, confused farmers, farmersmingle.com, 1929 version. But I think that, if this incest is true, I think that opened the gate to whatever psychosis he had. And like Brandy said, that unhealthy sexual relationship that supposedly happened, that did something. So of course, now he's going to have an unhealthy sexual relationship because he's already feeling he's a young man. He's already feeling a certain type of way. And now it becomes abusive and it becomes violent. And then it turns into murder.
And it was probably easier kidnapping. I think if he was heterosexual and he was, abusing girls, I still think it would have been easier for boys for him to get boys than it would for him to try to find a girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he wouldn't have had access. There would have been no reason for him to talk to the little girl. So it would have been more noticeable, but there's a reason for him to talk to boys because boys talk to boys. And maybe you can help me with a couple of these crates. We need help on the farm for the day. And so, like you said, it is easier for that to happen. But I just think he took what was available to him. And his parents helped him because it was wrong to be gay. You're not supposed to be doing that anyway. So of course we don't want people to look bad to these people.
Or it could have been to protect themselves because they were up there abusing children.
Right. But you know what also? You know what's crazy? The boys who were kidnapped from Pomona, their dad led a lynch mob to the Riverside County jail to get Gordon once he was arrested. This is 1929. So these people were out for blood. You hear me? We're out for blood to go.
You could be too.
Yeah, he was radical anyway. I mean, he was doing the most. Probably making them all pissed off.
And this was the Winslows. The Lewis was 12, Nelson was 10. So their dad led a lynch mob to the Riverside County Jail. And I could just imagine these guys in their old Ford pickups out in front of Old Main Street, in front of the old courthouse, trying to get these guys.
Ready.
So now let's talk about Christine Collins. Now she is the subject of the movie, The Changeling, which her story is really, really sad. I mean, all of these stories are sad, but hers is extra, extra sad because to the day that she died, she never thought her son was dead. She always waited for her son to come home. So her son is Walter Collins, and Gordon Northcutt kidnaps him, Lincoln Heights, Mount Washington area. And his mom reports it. LAPD does nothing. They give her the runaround. Oh, well, but this is a concerned mom, and she does what she's supposed to do. She bugs the hell out of them. They do nothing. They get to the point where J.J. Jones, the captain and one of the police captains, I think it was Rampart, as a matter of fact, they have this special code called Code 12, where they can put someone in an asylum without cause, basically for an indefinite period of time until they feel like coming to get you, or you're no longer a nuisance to the police department. But basically,
this is saying? This kind of stuff could still happen today, because how many women have reported something and they not paid attention or caught her hysterical or say she's crazy or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
They were just didn't even think about her at all. Like the fact that, oh, well, you take this boy. I don't know if we talked about it, but they brought another boy that they told her to go home with this boy. This is your son. Go with him and try him out and see. Like, this woman does not know who her son is. And the fact that you don't even think of me enough that you're telling me, well, it doesn't matter if it's your son or not. Just, just stop calling us.
Right. So
make it work.
Make it work.
Make it work.
They put her in, that happened first. There was a boy, they had put out these flyers looking for Walter Collins. They got all the way across the country, and there was a boy, Arthur Hutchins, found in Illinois, kind of a little vagrant. He greatly resembled Walter Collins. So someone reports him. The authorities there are like, we have your boy. They call LAPD. They tell her, we've got your son. She has to pay to transport this boy from Illinois to LA. She paid for that. Okay. He gets there and she's like,
that's not my son.
No, that's not my son. They're like, yes, it is. Look at him. And she's like, that's not my son. JJ Jones tells her, take him home and try him out for 3 weeks.
It's not a lawnmower or a bike or a vehicle where you need to try out to see if it belongs to you. Like,
he's like 3 days or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first, just bring it back. Like, what? So she makes a big stink. They're like, this is your son. So she's got people on both sides. She's got people in her camp that are like, no, that's not him. And then there's the people who are powerful, like, yes, that's him. You should accept it. Whatever. She keeps going. They put her in an asylum. They put her in the asylum under Code 12, LA County. And the boy confesses. Then no, he's not Walter Collins. His name is Arthur Hutchins. He just wants to get to Hollywood because he wants to meet his favorite actor. So by this time, all hell's about to break loose because they're already in this scandal. They use that boy to like clean up their image, like, hey, we solved the crime. But now it's about to blow up in their faces because we got this child and that's not him. They let her out. She sues JJ Jones. She gets a judgment. He never pays the $10,000. She won a case against him. Never. Come to find out now, by this time, all of this is kind of happening simultaneously. They find out about the Wineville murders because, like I said, there was a body found in La Puente, which is LA, in a ditch. So now they've got jurisdiction over this. And that body is then tied to Wineville. So they suspect that that was Walter Collins, that one of those bodies could be Walter Collins. She doesn't believe it. She never believes it. Because
did Northcutt invite her to the prison to talk to him?
Did.
And he said that it's not, I didn't kill your son. And she really believed him. But then when she went back again, he was like, don't talk to me. And like, don't talk to me. And basically just shrugged her off. So for some reason, I wouldn't be believing him.
Well, in all fairness, he didn't kill her son.
He did.
The mother did. One of the documentaries you sent me, the mother confessed.
The mother confessed. I think she confessed because
they knew they weren't going to kill her
in the prison. But I don't think that she killed them. Like she
had made it. She had gave out this elaborate, what she did that was so elaborate after she realized there was too much attention drawn to him and put him in a lie.
Yeah, I think she was just lying because she was going to get in trouble anyway. She helped them move the bodies from the chicken coop to out in the desert. So
she knew that they weren't going to kill her. That she wasn't going to get that. Okay. You know what I mean? Like I think she was doing everything she could to save him from the death penalty. But he was, like I said, he wasn't him. Something was wrong with him because
he definitely called her. Wait a minute. So he called her dead. That's who. Oh.
Yes. He called her to the prison
because
the
he
day
did call
before his
there and then say he
execution.
couldn't look her in the face and tell her nothing after he wrote her this telegram.
But see, he was giving the investigators the runaround for weeks and drawing maps and stuff. Like, he even left a map when he died that if you look here, you'll find the bodies. He also said that he didn't do it. So he flip-flopped all the time.
He was just trying to prolong it. That's all he was doing.
Even in court, because he kept firing his attorneys. He fired like 3 attorneys. So in the end, he ended up representing himself. He was cussing. He was like questioning himself in weird ways. So he was doing the absolute most. So he was not a believable person. But Christine Collins just held on to whatever hope that she had. And I think that's why she went to the prison. And why she believed that her son wasn't dead, because she had to. I mean, after all that she had endured, you kind of have to hold on to something, like, or you're just going to lose it.
Mm.
But she went to her death thinking that she was going to find her son. And he never surfaced.
Because he wasn't dead.
He wasn't going to surface. He was dead. He was dead. He was dead. He was dead. When Gordon was executed, he did the absolute most. As sadistic and evil as he was, he kicked and screamed to the noose. He wanted to be blindfolded. He told the executioner, "Don't walk so fast." He like reverted to being a child and asking, "Was it going to hurt?" So I think that's crazy that you, like Brandy was saying to me, that this person who did all these horrible things wants mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Wants mercy, but I think that's part of his. Also, I don't necessarily, which is not trying to be like, Susie Pollyanna or anything like that, but I don't think that Gordon was evil. I think he was I think he was insane. I don't think he was evil. I think his ass was insane. And given the fact that he was so young doing this, I think it's possible that he was doing it before they left Canada, because I don't think that all of a sudden within a 2-year time span, you start killing like this. At 19, that you start killing people like this. I don't think that that's what happened.
You might have started with animals, and how other serial killers start their killing animals.
He might have been killing First Nations people in Canada. I don't know. And they wouldn't have been paying attention to First Nations people. They considered them less than natives here. So it's a possibility. I just don't think that he was evil. I think he did some very evil shit. And I think he would have continued to do it if he hadn't gotten caught. But I don't think that he was necessarily evil, because I think that he was just fucking insane.
Yeah, he didn't show any. Didn't have any remorse.
I don't think he knew how. Little kids will, like, the worst killers are little kids, because they don't understand the gravity of what they're doing and the consequences. Like in civil wars and in third world countries, they use little kids as their soldiers, because little kids, you can indoctrinate them and they'll do all kind of stuff. And they don't have any sort of remorse for it, because they haven't developed yet.
Watching a documentary last night about the Australian, the gay murders in Australia who were killed by a gang of teenage boys, and that they were saying that these kids didn't know that it was wrong to harass or even maim or kill gay people. Like, they didn't even realize it, and that's why they didn't show any emotion, because they thought that was what you were supposed to do. Like, they didn't know that it was bad to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's right. I'm listening to it, but I'm thinking that's just crazy, because you're killing people. How do you not know that's bad? But
because this, in the same way that, I won't say it for modern people, but in the same way that in the 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s, that kids would kill Black people or Mexican people or Native people because
they were less than.
They were less than. So that's what they were taught, that it was okay. These aren't actual people. So you can do whatever you want to them. So we don't necessarily, why is that wrong? You just said that they aren't real people. So why am I getting in trouble for killing them? Why am I getting in trouble for killing these gay people when you guys talk really bad about gay people? So why am I going to get in trouble? Yeah. So I think that maybe when Gordon was killing Mexicans and migrant workers, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But when he killed those 3 little white boys from prominent areas, it's a big deal. You killed this little boy, and his mom is already putting out flyers looking for him. They're gonna find you.
They probably didn't even ask around for the headless Mexican boy. They probably didn't even ask around to see if anybody's kids was missing.
No, because it wouldn't have. His family might have moved on by that point to another contract, another job, or whatever, and not been able to stay in the area to look for him. And then you kidnap the two white kids from a yacht club meeting in Pomona. So apparently the Winslows were pretty well off. So you kidnap them. They're going to look for them. Mm-hmm. So you messed up by killing these 2 little white kids, these 3 white kids, these 3 prominent white kids, because there's probably other white kids, kids riding the rails, runaways, all of that. Because during that time, even in Pomona, like that was a big railroad country. That was a big thing there, still is. So, people riding the rails. So he had like a menagerie of people that he could have picked from, but you picked the wrong ones. Mm-hmm. He picked the wrong ones. And I think that that's why his mom and everybody assisted him with first covering up the murders. And then once Jesse left and put the authorities on them, because Gordon actually went to Canada. They sent him to Canada, but they arrested him there. Mm-hmm. So once they did that and they were running and they dug up those bodies and they tried to hide all the evidence, and that's why they tried, because they knew they were going to, they already had that headless Mexican boy, but they had him long before this ever even popped up.
And what about the boys that hey, he let go? You don't hear, they probably were not non-white. They can't go to the police and be like, this man kidnapped our kid and let him go.
No.
So I definitely think those boys weren't white, the ones that he let go. And he couldn't let the white boys go.
No, because they're definitely going to tell. They're definitely going to tell. And people are looking for them. So as soon as they step off this farm, someone is going to recognize them.
Yep.
And we're all going to go there, which it happened anyway. Now, Brandy, you said that Kelsey passes this house all the time. I used to live on Harupa and Dodd in Mariloma. Apparently, this house was on Harupa and Wineville. So basically, I was living down the street from this for about a year. For about 2 years.
Does that make you feel a certain way?
It does. It does. Because I possibly was walking my dog past this place and didn't know about it. And that's eerie as hell.
I don't think it would have made me eerie.
I think it would have been interesting to know.
Yeah, I would have been like, that was jacked up and that happened there. But I don't think I could live in the house. I don't think I would feel like, dang, that's jacked up. But I wouldn't be feeling a certain way.
I wouldn't live in the house because it's chicken shit in the floor.
I mean, there ain't no more chickens there now.
Brandy, that ain't gonna go nowhere. That smell ain't gonna go nowhere.
all them years later?
Nope. Mm-mm. 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 Listen, when Daddy died in 2005, and we went to Alabama. Now, my Ezzy's house had burned down. Remember them crackheads that burned the house down? But my Big Mama's house was still intact. So we went down the street before we left and went to my Big Mama's house. And now the house had been condemned, like it's not fit for habitation, but the floor could have fell in because we was all in there. But we went in there. And I'm just talking about the power of smell. My grandmother used to bring these blankets and quilts, those same ones that you brought back from your great granny. My great granny used to have these quilts, and my grandmother brought them to California, and they had a smell. They smelled like her house. Even years later, they smelled like her house. We were in that house in 2005. No, 2010. Sorry, 2010. And when we walked in, there was a bedroom to the right of the door, which was my great granny's room, my Big Mama's room. The smell, the same smell that was in those quilts that were at my grandmother's house was still in that old ass house. Now, mind you, my Big Mama had died in 1984. 1984, she passed away. Her smell, bunch of families had lived in that house, was still there. Like we walked in, those of us who had been to the house before, we all looked at, can you smell that? It's still there. So those things never go in the pig pen that was right outside. Ain't nobody been farming on that land for at least more than 40 some years. You still smell them pigs. It doesn't go away.
It was in your mind.
How was it in my mind when my mom, my brothers, my aunts, everybody who had been in that house before had smelled that smell? Now, I was the one that had most recently out of all of them been in the house. But everybody who'd ever been there smelled that smell. And the pig can still smell like pig. Chickens. You can still smell that chicken shit in the floor.
That's just like if you have boys, you know that, and when they're young, they don't aim all that well. And I will always smell pee. I will use a bucket of bleach and still smell pee. And my kids are grown. And if I walk by that bathroom, I still smell pee, even though I know it's no pee.
But you still have but there's still a man using that bathroom, so there's pee on the floor. So that's why you smell.
It's not pee like when they were and just water hosing the bathroom down.
I understand, but what I'm saying is, think about what the materials. Your house probably has tile on the floor, right? That's a non-porous surface. These houses, they had wood floors.
Oh, well, that smell was stained into the wood. But did they have chickens in the house?
I mean, I will admit that it is kind of, sometimes when I go over my grandmother's house, I find it quite odd that the smell's still the same from when I was a kid. So why isn't the smells should be evolving? Because things are changing. The way she does things changes. But that smell,
things are embedded. Think about people who smoke.
So think about
people who smoke. People who smoke, that the smell of smoke is in their house for years. Like you can steam and everything, and you still smell smoke. That house still smells like chicken shit.
Well, in the interview, the lady who lives there, she did not say that it did, even though her also raised chickens as well.
Oh, she raised chickens too?
Her mama did.
Well, then she'll be used to the smell anyway. She ain't gonna know.
She ain't gonna know.
She been smelling chicken shit all life.
She ain't never gonna have no new company because
be a problem. I guess it's not a problem for her.
It'll be a problem for me.
So the will be more of a problem than the fact that there's boys that were buried.
That would be my problem.
And there's probably, I would think there's still boys buried in the backyard.
Yeah.
But there's probably people buried under my house from who knows how long ago in the ground too. But
that's not proven. We got a whole murder conviction from that from over there on Wineville Road. So, yeah, see, I would go digging. Like, if it was me and somebody told me that somebody died, I gotta go digging. Like, I can't.
No, you don't have to, because that ain't none of your business.
It is my business. It's mine.
I can't believe hearing you say this, because it sounds like something I would say, but I'm totally not digging around for nothing. I'm
digging. I'm not gonna be able to rest well.
So you're gonna dig up everything to see if you can find one body.
If you go there, because I'm not going. But if you did, it's not even happening. Now, I don't care how long ago it was. I'm not saying that. But you're saying if you did, you would.
Yeah.
You're going to go look for the bodies.
If you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it. And is this before?
I ain't going out there messing with that stuff. I'm not, no.
Oh, first of all, I ain't moving none of my stuff up in there because I ain't going to have the spirits of whoever's in there.
That's why you don't even go.
No. Okay. So let me tell you, I was watching this today.
Bye.
The Whitney Plantation in Louisiana. Is this I think that's the plantation where the lady, she used to work in the house. The slave girl used to work in the house, and she got older, so they wanted to put her out in the field with her sister, and she didn't want to go. So she wanted to make herself seem like indispensable to the white people in the house. So she made a cake and she poisoned it. She was just trying to make them sick so that they would use her in the house. But what happened was, hey, Cash, what happened was they ended up dying. The girls and the mom end up dying, and they hung her. And her spirit hangs around the plantation. But anyway, these people bought the plantation to turn it into a B&B.
No.
Knowing that there was a problem. And I'm like,
no.
Well, that's why you bought a plantation.
A lot of these people that buy these plantations and have people having weddings down at the plantation and everything.
Nope. Not a good omen. Ain't gonna be able to do it.
Oh, gosh. Jesus, who is the head of my life, will protect me from all things seen and unseen.
We're going to have your nuptials down there.
No, I can't go nuptials on no plantation. I'm talking about if I live there. Like, I can live across. I have no problem living across from a cemetery. There's probably people buried under my house somewhere.
I mean, you gonna go there? Oh, so you think what?
Yeah, I can live across from the cemetery.
No.
You would live at a plantation.
I wouldn't live at a plantation because of what happened unless my family went and bought the plantation back as, you know, some kind of like we was on this land and now we bought it back type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not just going to buy some, you know, I mean, I'm not just going to be chilling around the plantation just because of what happened there. But if I lived there, I don't think there's going to be no spirits whipping through the winds and sitting on my windowsill talking to me.
No, ma'am.
As a woman of God, I know God is going to protect us from the seen and unseen, but you know they in it and they're going to be out.
Especially if it's a nice house too. And I got my nice veranda.
Can have it.
No.
Do you know what I would do? If I had the money to buy a plantation, do you know what I would do?
Burn it down.
I'll burn that bitch to the ground.
I would burn it straight to the ground.
Burn it to the ground and invite every spirit, dance around it. It's yours. Dance around it. And let the American Historical Society come after me. Oh, wait, look, I don't know what had happened. But I burned that shit to the ground.
Well, the Whitney Plantation made it a museum. They made that plantation a museum.
And I ain't going. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
I want to go. I want to go to it.
I'll stand outside and wait on you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But see, I don't have a problem with cemeteries though. Like, I like exploring cemeteries, but the plantation thing, I'm all right with that. Mm-mm.
And why, if there was spirits of those who were enslaved on that land, why would they be bothering you? You black too.
They're not gonna bother. I just don't want.
There might be some benevolent spirits on there. They might just be pissed off just to be pissed off, and I don't blame them.
The Lord.
If they were there, I would never. I wouldn't think that they're there. I wouldn't think that they're going to attack me. It's just I don't want to see it. If I see it, I'm going to panic and I'm going to pass out.
The Lord
can't handle that
before me.
I don't think they're going to bother me. It's just that I know me. I know I'm going to panic. I'm going to lose my shit. And I'm going to
see stuff that ain't there just because you know.
No. Because you got to be. I mean, there's. Don't get me into that. I am.
Yeah, let's leave this discussion alone because Brandy's gonna throw every scripture that she got at this topic.
and even her scriptures, she know that they still there.
Yeah, we ain't gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. We're gonna upset all the religious folk, and we're not gonna do it. Me and Brandy get into it about this all the time.
And she should know that they still exist.
We'll see them at the second resurrection.
They still there. Okay. Doesn't matter.
Brandon trying to, because I'm warming up.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead.
I'm rubbing my leg. I'm warming up.
We're gonna go ahead. Now at the end of
open your Bible.
All of this. No, we are not opening our Bibles. Bible study is about to be over. So at the end of this, the reason why the city is called Mariloma is I think it's called the City of Hills, or the city you can see from the hill, or something like that. They changed the name in 1930. So shortly after, or right before,
the day after he got killed, they changed
the name. Yeah. So they changed the name from Wineville to Mariloma, which is why you never ever hear about this case, is because they've buried it so deep that they don't even teach this in local history. Like, again, Brandy and I went to high school within a stone's throw of Mariloma and did not know this.
So it's a heinous crime. I'm not surprised that we don't know.
Well, I mean, people talk about heinous crimes.
And it happened so long ago, and it wasn't none of us.
True.
If it had been us, we would have known.
True that.
Because know that if it's one of us, know the stories involve us in Rubidoux.
Right.
Because you probably know family and everything.
True enough. All right. So that is our take on the Wineville chicken coop murders. If you have any more information about this, if you know people involved, if you live there, you knew about it or whatever, you can hit us up on Instagram or Facebook at Black Coffee Crime. Send us an email at info@blackcoffeecrime.com, or respond or leave comments on the YouTube video about whatever. So if you think we got something wrong or didn't include something, let us know. But just if you can, watch the movie Changeling. It was Clint Eastwood movie. Directed by Clint Eastwood and starring Angelina Jolie. It is a really, really, really good movie. So, and apparently there was a Criminal Minds episode based on this from, I don't know what season, but the Hollow Creek Killer was based on Gordon Northcutt. So I'm gonna go find that episode. Yeah.
Was he the one that had all the shootings at the house? No, that was the pig murder.
That was a pig murder. But this one says the killer follows a similar pattern of Northcutt's, abducting young boys, using other children to make his victims feel safe, keeping them in a building on his ranch, killing and burying the bodies. So I'm going to go find that episode. Also, American Horror Story has a plot line similar to this. The American Horror Story Hotel. So if you are a fan of American Horror Story,
which episode?
I guess the maid has a flashback of her son being kidnapped.
They sure do. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
I'm an American Horror Story fan.
Okay, so that's alluding to that.
They sure do
storyline. So yeah.
I don't know what episode it is. They did.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit of TV shows that use this sort of plot line, but I'm definitely going to find that Criminal Minds one. So if you're a Criminal Minds fan, look for that episode.
Criminal Minds.
It's called, I'm going to write this, the Hollow Creek. There is a website that will tell you, it's dedicated to Criminal Minds and all the plots that are taken, where they get their plots from. So it tells you where all the murders and where they, what episode that they put that murder in or that killer. I'll try to find it and post it. But yeah, so if you're Criminal Minds family, there's a whole damn
I think I know what
dedicated
episode.
to that.
I think I know what episode.
Where I had the website up, but yeah, so I'll find the link for that so you can see the all the different episodes and how they relate to actual murders. All right, so that's it for tonight. Before Brandy wants to do her Bible study, we're not gonna do that. And they
don't want to hear from the word. They don't want to hear the truth of light.
Brandy. Brandy.
What's the Lord got to say? What the Bible says?
See, right before I'm always trying to hang up on Brandy. That's what I said. I'll be like, Brandy, like she already knows.
The Bible says the dead know not anything. That's what the Bible says. Now I'm gonna do my own rendition.
Not going.
What
am I doing rendition of? Blessed Assurance.
And you know what, guys? Have that cup of coffee and
not
have
going.
a good night. Yes, have a cup of coffee and have a good night.
This episode